Mhm. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As always, I'm excited. Dr. Levinton here. We're having conversations to help you live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. The truth is, 2020, 2026 is here. It came quickly, didn't ask for our permission. It came quickly. And so the year is a gift. Every day is a gift, and especially the year is a gift. And so today we're going to talk about how to create your 2026 vision. Our guest is here. I can see her behind the scene. So let me have her come. Oh, hey, Doc, good to see you.
It's so good to see you, Doc.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is
Okay.
that me?
Beautiful.
Okay, so for those of you who are watching, can you hear me and my guest, or is it me? Let me make sure I did this well.
Let me make sure I say something else too. You want me to do a singy song? Woo.
I think it's me. Gonna make it work.
How we doing? Yes? Oh no, I can't hear you now. Oh dear. Can you hear me? No, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. No, I can't. No, no, I can't. I can't hear anything. But you can hear me?
Because I
Oh, wait,
muted.
wait. There it is. Yes, there it is. Yes.
Muted. All right. We've been hitting
These things
2026.
happen. It's part and parcel of this whole we planned it. We planned it like this.
Oh my goodness. Well, good to have you here, Dr. Rashby. I appreciate you. I celebrate the gift you are. Thank you for having this conversation with us on how to create our 2026 vision.
Beautiful. I'm so grateful to be here, Dr. Tolu.
All right, awesome. Now, for those who may not know you, I will tell you this because I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Dr. Rashmi is a friend. We're colleagues. She helped me a lot. She's one of the reasons why I became lifestyle board certified. She's an amazing human being. She's also a family physician. And I'll let her introduce herself to you, and then we'll start the conversation. All right, so Dr. Rashmi, take it away.
Yeah, honored to be here. Just a little bit about me is that I am a family doc and I've been practicing for a little over 25 years. And in that time period, about 12 years ago, I really started to get into a lot of integrative and holistic ways of helping people heal. And in that process, I ended up sort of evolving over the last several years into what I do now, which is primarily helping really high achieving women with tapping into their own inner peace and power, with helping them vision and go through this life's journey with a little bit more energy and a little bit more fulfillment. And I also host retreats. And so it is an absolute honor as, this mindfulness, meditation, Ayurveda, medicine all can be put together in terms of mindset and how that can help us to kind of become a catalyzing factor for where we really want to go.
I like what you do, and I like that you help women. I mean, no bias. um, but we're talking about vision. Why is visioning important? I think for some people listening to this conversation, it's like, oh, there they go again, overachievers, people who don't know how to enjoy life, who like to work really hard. Why is visioning important?
That's such a great aspect of sometimes why people might not be drawn to visioning is they think that all we're doing is creating more work for ourselves. But the way that I see the importance of visioning and the reason that we need to sort of be very focused in blank canvas states, like a new year, for example, is that it helps us lean into our why. So it remember really what our highest values are and where our purest potentials can be expressed. And then we get to create something out of this beautiful new canvas that we get every single day, every single minute. But sometimes the calendar year, when we're flipping that can just really feel like a beautiful breath of fresh air. Even when, let's say, we feel like we're coming off of one of the most challenging years of our lives, all of that can be a yes and. And one of the reasons that it can be really important is, and there's studies that show us this, when we write things down that we want to manifest and or desire, that there is a significantly, tremendously increased chance that we're going to get that, because it's going to kind of consciously, like sort of subconsciously and consciously reprogram ourselves to take aligned actions.
And it's so interesting. As you were saying that, I was thinking, I mean, if your vision is to have fun, you don't want to do much work, you can actually have a vision around that. And so there's something about being driven to do something or work towards a goal, and to maximize the year. I like it. I like it, Doc. Now, my next question is, now for those who have decided that, you know what, I'm going to set visions this year. I have my New Year goals. I wrote them down. I already started working towards this. Um, why would you say people struggle in staying aligned with their vision? Because the first month of the year, the gym is usually full. I have people coming to see me saying, Doc, I want to do this year. But what would you say is why people struggle to stay aligned to their goals as the months go by?
Yeah. So first, let's really validate that is part and parcel of the human condition, and that we've all started things that we haven't finished, and that's okay. But if it becomes important to us and we start it and we don't finish it and we want to finish it or stay consistent, that's the only place where it matters, right? So a couple of things come to mind. The first thing is, to me, an intention is a little bit different than a goal, and then an intention is a little bit more pliable and a little bit more flexible. And so as we start to evolve, maybe we started going to the gym at 5 a.m. every morning in January, but it just felt like a slog by the third week. And so how can we kind of like keep with the intention of daily movement, but maybe shift it a little bit? Whereas if the goal is only to go to the gym every morning at 5, it's going to feel really rigid, and we're going to just not have the quote unquote willpower to continue at that rate, especially if we're having all the other things that happen in life to life. And so when we can stay a little bit flexible, when we can say, well, what is the intention? What's the intention behind it? It's so that I stay healthier, mind, body, spirit, and my exercise helps me do that. Then it starts to have a different energy around it. And so there's this saying that I think I've heard you say as well, Dr. Tolu, which is, skill power is better than willpower. And so how do we develop the skills to stay consistent? And how do we develop the resources in the community to stay consistent is really what I think is the key here.
I like it. And I like how you said start with an intention.
Yes.
So I intend to stay healthier. I intend to feel better. And let that drive the I guess the conversations, the action. I intend to. I'm actually softer. Just hearing that. I'm going to.
Yeah.
And then you said power is better than willpower. And
right.
You talked about, you mentioned consistency. I have people coming to me saying, Doc, this year I want to stay consistent. I struggle with consistency. You mentioned something earlier too. You said it's part of the human experience. So how do you negotiate those conversations? Like, I want to stay consistent. I'm frustrated. I don't stay consistent. What do you say to that person who's like, this year I want to be consistent?
Yeah, I love that. Some of it can be all or nothing thinking, like almost like catastrophic thinking. And I have this favorite story that I think about this young man that worked in our lab in our clinic. And my husband and I have been plant-based for a really long time, always had our own lunch, and a few of the staff had become more plant-based as well. And so this young man really started to feel like he wanted to go completely plant-based, and he went from like 0 to 100 in one day, and was kind of eating a lot of things that he was eating like raw vegan, which I don't think is very sustainable. And he was very hungry much of the time. And I didn't necessarily always interact with him, but this was like, I think he was like maybe 3 or 4 weeks in, and he was feeling really good. And then one day I came in maybe 4 weeks out, and he had like a double cheeseburger and fries, and I was like, "Oh." And he said, "You know what? I just couldn't take that. I couldn't have any eggs at all, and I couldn't stand it, and so I just went back." I was like, "Wait a second, there's probably something in between here, you know?" And so I think it's not uncommon for us to be like, "That did not work for me. I'm just gonna go back to my old way." And that's definitely okay if the old way is fine for you, but if you're really looking for some amount of consistency, the key, and I'm gonna say this at least twice, the key is to begin again. It's to begin again. It is always beginning again.
I like
Because if we lose 2, 3 days, we get to begin again. It's not all lost, still consistent.
I like it. You can begin again.
Yes,
And the truth is, we have to learn this process so we don't waste time, waste energy, and lose out on joy.
that's
That's
it.
why this is, you know.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and I tell people this consistency is staying consistent at trying to be consistent.
I like that.
you
Yes.
we keep trying. Um, and examples you mentioned meatless Mondays. You could do Monday and Tuesday, maybe 2 days out of the week. So not all or nothing mindset. Powerful, Doc. I'm taking
Yeah.
notes. Now, for you, Dr. Rashmi, because you're a very driven person, would you say, okay, let me ask that question before I assume. Would you say because people say, well, good for you, you're naturally driven. You are driven to, I mean, you're a doctor for crying out loud. So you're driven to do things, even when you don't feel like your natural bent is to do that. For someone who's watching, who's like, I'm not a driven person. I'm not a type excellent or type A personality like you may be. What would you say to that when it comes to reaching or striving to reach, goals in 2026?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think each person has to meet themselves where they are and wherever they are before they can even create action or right? If we're fighting against reality, resisting what's already here inside of ourselves, sometimes we're in a stage, whether we're driven or not, I don't know that that's a full-on character because there have been years of my life where I just wanted to just be and just exist. And I still identified as somebody that went after what I wanted. And in those moments, what I wanted was deep rest. And so I think it can be an identity thing. If somebody wants whatever feels like a high achieving thing, and perhaps they just become somebody who quote unquote is high achieving. And what does that even mean? What does it even look like for them? Right? Because a lot of those are like societal expectations. Like society says high achieving and someone else isn't. And so what is true for them? What's real for them? And ultimately, like meeting ourselves where we are and then asking ourselves, what do I want? Which feels so scary. Like, what do I desire? In terms of how do I want to contribute to society? What's the service? What are the gifts that I bring? What's the positive impact that I can create? And then taking action based on that, whether we want to call it high achievement or not, that's up to them.
I like that. What do you really want? And how do I want to contribute? I like that. All right. So my next question is, how do you? We want to learn tips, right? We have the vision set. We have the spiritual goals, the health goals, the money goals, the family goals, the fun goals, all the things. How do you stay grounded and clear throughout the year,
Yeah.
and you can keep it as real as possible?
Oh, for sure. First of all, let's normalize that I don't know anybody that's met 100% of the vision. So, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna go for it every single year. So, it's really about process and embracing the journey as much as it is visioning and then allowing the twists and the turns to also be a part of the journey. And again, it comes into that begin again mentality. Like we're going to fall off the path time and time and time again. I'm old enough to know that I'm not fooling myself. I'm going to fall off this path that I'm on right now. I've got a lot of momentum and life is going to life at some point. I'm not calling that in, dear universe, but when it does and I fall off the path, my only job is to be soft with myself and come back into alignment with where I'm going. And ultimately, just focusing on the journey and focusing on remembering why. will help us way closer to that vision goal that we set or intention than if we say, well, it's totally unreachable and I've fallen off the tracks, forget it. I'm never going to try again.
Hmm. Hmm. And then, just piggybacking on that, are there systems that you have that help remind you to embrace the journey? Because I mean, like sometimes I need to go listen to some of my podcasts or like this conversation so I can remember myself. But are there systems that you have that help remind you that the journey is just as important as the destination and that it's okay to start again? Like how do we stay coached or encouraged in the mind drama that comes with, oh, the goal seems so evasive?
Yeah, beautiful. And I think this is probably going to be the same answer for you, Dr. Tolu, as it is for me. It's what I'm actually helping others when they've fallen off their path. And, technically I'm coaching them, but sometimes I'm just coaching my own self. And so a lot of it is receiving by giving. And so if I identify as a meditation and a mindfulness teacher, and I am hosting a lot of these events that have meditation and mindfulness, a lot of that has to do with being in the present moment. But being in the present moment is enjoying the journey. And so some of this is truly receiving whatever it is that I'm giving. And I agree with you. Somebody will say, your podcast on this and this changed the way I look at how I, do life. And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to listen to that conversation again. And so a lot of it is just priming ourselves to come back and have our own backs, have these systems, right? So you and I are part of a group that helps us have a very safe container when things go awry, when we can ask for help, when we can receive, we can just be with the moment. I think that's helpful. But whenever we can come back, when we have quote unquote a mistake, that's what helps us stay in the game.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you for sharing that. So community, sometimes talk to yourself like you would counsel someone else. Sometimes we're gracious to others. We can, oh, you shouldn't have to do this or thing, da, da, da. But when it's ourselves, we don't quite have the words. So sometimes stepping outside of yourself to counsel yourself and advise yourself, taking on advice, is helpful too. Now let's talk about overwhelm. So sometimes, you have the goals, life happens, right? We talked about the twists and turns, and it kind of throws a curveball to the vision that you had for 2026. What, like, how do you reconnect when life feels overwhelming? Like, what do you do to rest and reset?
That's a great question. So sometimes when there's overwhelm in our circumstances, it might be asking us to sprint. If there's a deadline coming up, if there's something within the family that requires a lot of action, and that's okay. Right? We just have to take the next step and the next step and the next step. And when it's possible for us to take even just 2 or 3 minutes to ourselves of some kind of quiet, of some kind of meditation, prayer, whatever, journaling, whatever that looks like, that can help to dissipate some of the overwhelm that's there, right? And remembering, I'm going to bring back the community piece again, that we're not alone and we weren't meant to do life alone, is that we are deeply, deeply connected to other beings for a reason. And so leaning into and asking for help when we are overwhelmed is a whole skill in and of itself.
This year there's a recurring theme I'm seeming to hear. It's don't do this year alone. Don't do this year alone. And for someone who's watching, who's like, yeah, I tried that. I opened myself to a group of people. I became vulnerable and it backfired because humans do humany things. And my feelings were hurt. And so there's a natural bent to hide and say, I'm just going to stay by myself. Do you have any words of encouragement to that person who's listening, who's like, yeah, I'm done with people. I'm good.
I feel that person. I think they have a valid point, and at the same time, what I did at the beginning of a couple or 3 years ago was I felt like a lot of my relationships had a bent to it where I was giving a lot and not receiving really anything back in return, and so I just consciously sort of sat down and I said, "Where do I feel the most nourished? Who do I feel the most safe with? And how is there" it can't, energetic exchange cannot be 100% reciprocal all the time. Totally get
Right.
that, especially with family, especially if we've got kids, like, that's not really what I'm talking about. But if there were intentional communities that I could create that felt like this person was at the same level of consciousness, the same level of intention that I was at, whether they were doing something totally different, it didn't matter. But sometimes we do have to sit down and make some difficult decisions of this relationship is not serving me. And it was painful. I've let several
Mm.
relationships go, not because they're bad people or not because we had a bad relationship, but because it no longer felt like an equal or at least close to equal energetic exchange. There was just a lot of taking, and perhaps it was on me that I wasn't receiving, right? Like, all of those things are potentials, but there
Mm.
were times when we get to make a decision as to whether do you want to go on that vacation with that family again? Like, probably not. Not if it was super draining and you did most of the work and kept your kids and that felt resentful for you. Then maybe shift it a little bit. Maybe do something else with that particular family if you care about them. So, like, I think you can really have, like, levers that you can kind of, like, move back and forth as to how you're connected, but I think it's non-negotiable that we're connected to other beings. I don't actually think it's a healthy way to go through life and interact with people. We're not.
Mm.
We can't be.
Mm. Yeah, we're not wired that way. And I like how you said, you took a step back and reassessed, and you intentionally placed yourself in cocoons that nourished you. I mean, and the truth is, in your line of work too, you are in a relationship that will drain you. So but you have to also strategically place yourself in relationships or in communities or in systems that help nourish you, so you can go back out, do what you do, and come back in. And so I like the intentionality, and yes, we are humans. We need other humans, and that's I don't know if that's negotiable. We just have to find different ways to nurture those relationships. And also, I would say that this, Dr. Rashmi, I think you also will agree. Asking, sometimes we have to help people help us. Asking for help, and some people have told me you seem to want to do everything yourself. Like you seem to thrive just so. Learning to ask and receive help, um, even telling people how they can help you makes it easier for them sometimes in some circumstances. So thank you for sharing that. 12:40:52. Time flies when you're having fun. My next question is now, how do you what kind of questions would you say someone should kind of ask themselves from time to time in the year to check in on their goals in a non-pressure type of way? Where they have the goals early in the year, it's March. Like, what kind of questions do you think, or what kind of conversations should people ask themselves, in 2026 or throughout the year? I think we talked on some of them earlier in the conversation, but are there any questions that come to mind so you kind of keep a good relationship with your goals or your vision for 2026?
That's right. So maybe let's just use the one example of making sure that we're moving our bodies, like having regular movement, for example, because we talked about that a little bit. Let's say it's March and maybe you're feeling sluggish, maybe you're not, maybe you're feeling amazing. But I do think quarterly check-ins are so, so important, if not even sooner than that. And so a check-in is just quite literally a check-in. We're saying, like, how did it go this last quarter? What went well? Where did I have the most challenges? Where did I face the biggest headwinds? And where was it easier than I thought it was? How much
Mm.
effort did I give? How much more effort do I want to give? And ultimately, like, what is the result that I've had because of staying consistent or even inconsistent? Like, what is the result? And then casting the vision again if you need to. If it needs to be that now, you tore your Achilles tendon, it needs to look differently. And so ultimately checking in is the actual gold. Checking in is the gold. And different people do different things. And I don't know if you do this, but I have my vision on my phone so that I'm looking at it multiple times a day. Sometimes I'll create passwords that are shortcuts to my vision, or an I am statement. So you're typing passwords all the time, especially like at work, or maybe you're tapping in and out now. But like you can create passwords where you have to think about that phrase subconsciously over and over and over again. And so you can really like use all of your senses. And so that you can have a vision board there and on your phone. You can tell someone you're going to do it. So they ask you about it. You can join a community. And so like I have so many different communities that are doing things that I really want to do in those areas, but not necessarily else. Like, whether it's business, that's great, but one where they're just, growing their meditation practice and they're expanding their consciousness. There's one that's totally separate in terms of travel and all these other things. And so sometimes just checking in within ourselves with our vision can be the gold.
I like it. Check in with your vision. Do it consistently. Don't be afraid. Don't let it scare you. It can change. You can edit it. You could upgrade. You could downgrade. You could switch. It's okay. It's a dynamic vision or path. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us, Dr. Rashmi. And as we wrap up, for someone who's like, vision, huh? Okay, I'm considering now. This conversation was very empowering. I'm going to have a few goals for different areas of life. Um, for someone who may feel a little bit overwhelmed because they had like two things to do on their to-do list, and now we've added a third one, where they're actually going to create their 2026 vision. What words of encouragement would you say for them to start the process as we wrap
Yeah.
up?
Yeah. I think when there's like overwhelm as far as a vision is concerned, I think that is a major sign to just slow down. And if you can, and most people can probably find 5 minutes in the day to just be moving and asking the question of what do I want? Or where do I want to go? And allowing that to come to us. Sometimes it comes to us in the shower, right? Why? Because we're not listening to anything. We're not like taking something in. And so being really mindful of consuming and like really saying no to we are over consuming everything all the time. And so if it
Mm.
feels overwhelming and it's interesting to you, if you feel drawn to this idea of creating a vision and living life on purpose in 2026 rather than letting life happen to you, then that is a sign that you are being magnetically attracted to this vision for yourself to create it. And so slow down, allow it to come to you, and be gentle with yourself.
I like that. Like, oh wow, I like that. That was you said, see if this piques your interest. Vision is not for everyone. I mean, I'd recommend it for everyone, but it may not be for you. And if you're not ready, that's okay. Breathe, relax, take a good shower, see what comes to you. And if this piques your interest, there you go. Start. Where do you want to be? What do you want? And go from there. I like it. Dr. Rashmi, thank you so much. Doc, where can people find you? For those who are watching, who are like, man, I like how no pressure she don't stress me. Our conversations are easy. Where can people find you, Doc?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. On YouTube, it's just my name, Dr. Rashmi Shram. My website is also just my name, rashmishram.com. So come, let's play together. It's going to be fun.
I like how you make it very easy all around the globe. So I put it in the notes as well.
Oh, I forgot. I've got a podcast. I always forget, but it's one of my favorite things, and I forget to talk about it. My podcast is called Inner Peace and Power, and it's available all over the world. And I love it. It's so much fun. And we talk about ways to tap into inner peace and power.
I like it. So I put it in the comments for those who are interested. So you can go look. You can follow her on Instagram. Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi, for doing this. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tolu. It's been an honor.
Appreciate you. And thank you all for watching. And of course, if you know someone who should be watching this, something to encourage them, even as a vision in 2026, please share, subscribe, and like. And as always, if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough and compassionate family physician that will help you live long and well, I am she. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you. This was good.